Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to discuss the symbolism of the Holy Grail and what it means and why the story exists and why it's important. Link it to what it means to us today. And all this according to the French philosopher Rene Guenon, which is a French perennial philosopher. Obviously, being that he is a perennial philosopher, I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but I think he has some good insights here about the Holy Grail that will allow us to see how it connects, especially with traditional Catholic and even Orthodox teaching. Now, the Holy Grail was crafted by angels after Satan fell and lost his crown. The emerald that was within his crown was crafted into the Holy Grail. This was given to Adam to have as a gift to protect as his own. But when he was cast out from Eden, could not bear it and lost the cup. Or should I say the Grail. Now later we see the cup again at the Last Supper with Christ. This is mostly what it's known for and where it appears for most of us that we know. This is the same cup that was used by Christ at the Last Supper. And then Joseph of Arimathea fills the cup at the cross after Christ had his side pierced with a lance. Legend has it that Joseph of Arimathea, along with Nicodemus, traveled to Britain where they delivered the cup. Now, first thing to talk about is that the Holy Grail itself is not about the cup. It's about the whole story surrounding the idea of the Holy Grail. Sometimes I think we can have like this materialistic tunnel vision where we look too deeply into something, but the story of the Grail itself is what is important. Now, Guenon says that the Holy Grail is something symbolic of the primordial state, which is to define as kind of like the state that we should be in, or the state where we belong. So this is similar to something like the return to Eden, to the return to paradise. So the Holy Grail in itself is symbolic in something that is lost and needs to be found, and not necessarily lost but hidden. So you can think of the Holy Grail as tradition. So it's a tradition that has been lost to people or to somebody, and it needs to be found. And this allows us to go back into our primordial state. In Christianity, that's theosis or going to heaven. If you're more of a Buddhist type, that's something like reaching nirvana. And that's what is surrounded within the story of the cup. Now, this is important because traditions and rituals is something that binds us together. And as we get farther from the center, you could say from the garden, we lose a little bit of that, and in that we also lose unity. And so tradition is something, tradition and rituals based within that tradition is something that unites us as people. Now, another interesting thing is the fact that the Holy Grail is many traditions have a concept of a cup that was lost and needs to be found. Persia has a similar story. Most of us know the story from the legends of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. And one thing to note also, what's interesting is that the Knights of the Round Table are actually linked together with the Holy Grail, because in a sense it's the same thing, in that the reason the Knights of the Round Table exist, it's to keep us in that, to protect the tradition or keep us within the tradition. And so that's why you have these legends of knights going out to find the tradition that has been lost, so that the once again, the primordial state can be returned, like order can be back together again. Now, legend has also that if you find the cup and you drink from it, it grants you immortality. Once again, if you think about that and participating in with tradition within a culture, it kind of grounds you, or you can say grants you a sense of unity within that culture. And for the church in particular, mostly within the Catholic and Orthodox tradition, for us, that's something like the sacraments. That is the Holy Grail. It allows us to participate with the highest good, those things with that Christ redeemed for us, that was within paradise. He becomes the new paradise, the new tradition. And you can see that also with the story in that Adam first had it, but was cast out. And when he was cast out from the center, from Eden, he also loses the cup that went with it. And it isn't found again till later with Christ at the Last Supper. And not only that, but he fills the cup, right? Joseph of Arimathea, like I mentioned before, is the one that fills it with his blood, in that the outpouring of his mercy is kind of filled within this new tradition. And it's something that binds us to the highest ideal, the highest good, which is God. So with Guenon's returning of the primordial state is for a Christian, looks like something like going to heaven, or more particularly reaching theosis. And that's what the Holy Grail is. It's the loss, something that is lost but needs to be found in order to reach the highest ideal, or theosis. Once again, that's, the legend has it, if you drink from the cup, you gain immortality. And immortality is granted when you return to paradise before death came upon the world. So yeah, thank you for tuning into this one. Hopefully it makes sense. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'll see if I can clarify anything. And once again, this is mostly based on Rene Guenon, and I would be interested to hear what your thoughts are on the subject. But yeah, see you in the next one, and I'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed the content here on my channel, please like and subscribe. And if you would like to learn more, I have a blog on my website where you can learn more about symbolism, as well as short form videos and articles on my Instagram page. Thank you for listening, and I hope you tune into the next one.